Hi, this is Maria Olson. You may know me from Trophy Heads or Starry Eyes and maybe Paranormal Activity 3. And I want to welcome you to Anthony T's Horror Show because it's an awesome show.
Hi, my name is Jessica Cameron, and you're listening to Anthony T's Horror Show.
Hey, fellow horror fans. This is Troy Escamilla, the director of Party Night and Mrs. Claus, and you are listening to Anthony T's Horror Show. Enjoy.
Welcome to another edition of Anthony T's Horror Show. I'm Anthony T. In this edition, I'll be joined with Andrew Duran from Darkest Before Dawn podcast as we talk about the upcoming CT Horrorfest convention that takes place September 14th in Naugatuck, Connecticut. And I will have another open letter to, you guessed it, Jason Blum. And the reason why I'm going to have another open letter to Jason Blum is because, well, I am getting sick and tired of Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends hijacking the news segment every episode. This is what, like the third or fourth episode in a row where I am leading my show off with Halloween Kills news. It's like, I have other news I would love to get to. I haven't had the time to talk about It Chapter 2 or 3 from Hell because every episode there's something major from the upcoming Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends films that has to lead off my podcast. It's getting to the point now where it's becoming a regular segment on my podcast. It's like waiting to see what is Anthony going to talk about that is Halloween Kills or Halloween Ends related? Because it seems like every show now is being headlined by a news story regarding Halloween Kills or Halloween Ends. Case in point, most recently, Blumhouse announced that Anthony Michael Hall will be playing Tommy Doyle in the upcoming Halloween Kills film. And if that's not to make matters very interesting or worse, depends on which side you are on all this Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends craziness. They also announced that Kyle Richards, who played Lindsay in the original Halloween film, will be returning for Halloween Kills, reprising her role as Lindsay Wallace. Now, I don't mind them bringing back Tommy Doyle and Lindsay Wallace, but why wasn't Brian Andrews, who played Tommy Doyle in the original Halloween film, in this film? It's like, why? You're bringing Kyle Richards back, but you're not bringing Brian Andrews back. This is ridiculous. It's all because what? Kyle Richards is on a popular reality TV show called The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and Brian Andrews doesn't do anything. So let's recast Brian Andrews in the film and put Anthony Michael Hall in there. Why not? An 80s icon! Sure, he was around the same time as the original Halloween, so let's cast an 80s icon instead of casting Brian Andrews to reprise his role as Tommy Doyle. I don't know what is going on here. This is stupid. Really, Hollywood. Seriously. You're recasting Tommy Doyle, but you're not recasting Lindsay Wallace because Kyle Richards is on a popular reality TV show. So I guess that might draw people into the theaters who see The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. I don't know why Brian Andrews isn't in this next Halloween film, Halloween Kills, and Kyle Richards is. What, Brian Andrews wasn't available for this film? I don't get it, really. Why is Tommy Doyle being replaced by Anthony Michael Hall and Lindsay Wallace is not being replaced? It's being played by the same actress. I really think the reason why they cast Anthony Michael Hall in the role of Tommy Doyle is because they wanted a name. And that is ridiculous. If you're going to cast Kyle Richards playing her character, Lindsay Wallace from the original Halloween film, then you should cast Brian Andrews playing Tommy Doyle from the original Halloween film. Not casting Anthony Michael Hall. Seriously. Because I don't really get this move. I just don't. It just mind boggles me. Of course, last episode I talked about rumors that Charles Kripis might be coming back to play Sheriff Brackett. But what? Brian Andrews is not invited? I would like to know why Brian Andrews is not in this film. Seriously. That is the $1,000,000 question here. Why isn't Brian Andrews in this film and Kyle Richards is? I don't get it. Really. It sounds like it's Hollywood trying to put name value in a film. And Kyle Richards, oh yeah, she has name value because she's on a reality TV show, a popular one. But Brian Andrews, nah, has no name value. Let's just recast him with an 80s icon. I just don't get it. I really do not get this casting. Seriously. If you're going to let Kyle Richards come back and play her original character, you should let Brian Andrews come back and play his original character. It'd be a nice treat for the fans. But no, you people in Hollywood just want names. You just need another big nostalgia name. Halloween Kills, man. And this casting for Halloween Kills, man. Really? Will somebody please tell me why Brian Andrews is not in the next Halloween film? Feel free to leave me a message on Auntie T's Horror Show on Facebook, because I want to know why the hell Brian Andrews is not in the next Halloween film and Kyle Richards is. Because this sounds like they're trying to cash in on the success of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills here. And it's a travesty. Seriously. If you're gonna bring back the original Lindsay Wallace, you should bring back the original Tommy Doyle as well. Because the recasting of Tommy Doyle kills, man. And yes, I've heard about some of you people wanting Paul Rudd to come back and play Tommy Doyle. But no, Brian Andrews should come back and play Tommy Doyle, not Anthony Michael Hall or Paul Rudd. Sorry. Enough of this. I'll just say more of my Halloween venom for the open letter to Jason Blum. Enough with the whole Blumhouse remake of Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends. I'll go into it more later on this episode. But now in news that you can file under is about bleeping time. And yes, I said bleeping because, well, I know there's kids listening, so it's about bleeping time. That Troma has finally released details on the upcoming Blu-ray release of Return to Nukem High Volume 2. Now, this is a Blu-ray they've been waiting for about a year and a half. That's right, a year and a half. As it's taking so long for Troma to finally put this film on Blu-ray. They released on VOD last Christmas, but it's now finally going to Blu-ray, and I'm so excited for this Blu-ray coming up. As special features on the Blu-ray include Two Girls, One Duck, a full-length documentary of the making of Volume 1 and 2, an introduction by Lloyd Kaufman, of course. One of the most fun things about any Troma DVD and Blu-ray. Cannes 2017, From Festival to Fascist. Troma Featurette. I believe it's the Museum of Modern Arts. Tributes to Stan Lee, Lemmy, and Joe Fleshshaker. And 2 short films, Mr. Tops and Merry Christmas to My Wife's Butt. That's just such a crazy title. The Blu-ray's gonna hit retail November 12th. It's about time. I've been wanting to own this Blu-ray for a while. Even though I think Volume 1 is better than Volume 2, the film was still fun. As you can, if you go on Anthony T's Horror Show on YouTube, I have a review of Return to Nukem High Volume 2. It is a fun film, but it's about time this film came on Blu-ray. It felt like 10 years, literally, between Return to Nukem High Volume 1 and Return to Nukem High Volume 2. I cannot wait to own this film. They're both fun films. Even though I might think Volume 2 may be one of Lloyd Kaufman's most weakest films, but still I had a really good time with the film anyway, so it's very hard not to like a Lloyd Kaufman film. It is very hard. Trust me. You should definitely check out some of his films, including The Toxic Avenger, Terror Firmer, Romeo and Juliet, and Poultrygeist, among others. Return to Nukem High, aka Volume 2, hits Blu-ray November 12th. And with that, that's the news. Besides Anthony T's Horror Show, you can also listen to these other fine podcasts on the Doc Discussions Network. Doc Discussions, hosted by Philip Perrone and Michael Darwin. You Know Nothing, Jon Snow, a Game of Thrones podcast. Bullets, Brothels, and Bots, a Westworld podcast. Halloween Boutique, Psychotronic Reviews, and Searching for American Gods. You can find Doc Discussions on the web at www.docdiscussions.com, and Doc Discussions is also available on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Spotify. Have a podcast that you want to promote? Well, if you're interested in swapping commercials, you can promote your show here on Anthony T's Horror Show, and in return I will promote your commercial on my show as well. For more information, contact me at anthonytshorrorshow@gmail.com. Warning: the following commentary doesn't represent the views of Doc Discussions or the Doc Discussions Network. In other words, there are my views only. Welcome back. I recently got a chance to see Ready or Not in theaters. It was actually the first time I got to see a horror film in theaters in quite some time, as yours truly has been busy, plus the fact that I haven't had time to catch films in theaters. I've been waiting till it comes out on Blu-ray to see it. But when I saw Ready or Not, it was a great film. I enjoyed this film a lot. It was very fun from beginning to end. I even went back into writing, and I haven't written a review in quite a while since St. Agatha. And that had to be like March maybe. And I remember like really hating that film so bad. But the reason I went back to writing was this film was great. I had a great time watching this film. It is the best horror film I've seen all year. Forget Climax, forget Close Calls, forget Us. Ready or Not is the best horror film I've seen all year so far. But the box office numbers have not been good for Ready or Not. As I'm recording this, it has made over $20 million in 2 weeks at the box office. Now, it was only cost $6 million to make, so it's already made at least 3 times its budget back. But still, I want this film to be successful. I'm not asking this film to be another Scream, where it started off badly, then it became one of the hottest horror films of all time. I'm just asking for people to go out and watch this film, because Ready or Not was original, and it was very entertaining. It was different. It was a Blumhouse film. It was a film from another studio. And it was very creative and had some very cool moments in it. Us horror fans really need to support films like Ready or Not. Seriously. Because I'm going to tell you the reasons why. Because right now in horror, the only big horror films have been either from Blumhouse, or it's been a sequel, or a reboot, or based by a book. I want original content to succeed. If original content succeeds, then more studios will get in the game, and we get more great horror films from the major studios. And then it's all good for us horror fans. But all the original content lately has been coming from Blumhouse, and that's kind of a little disturbing to me, because, no offense, Jason Blum and Blumhouse do some really good films. I will agree with that. But if we have one production company in the game constantly, then after a while, that studio starts to get stale, and we're left with bad films. Because, well, Blumhouse knows it already has an audience that will go and see their films, and it's not going to make them make newer original content. As you already see them making Halloween films, and they have ambitions to get other horror properties as well. So once they get the other horror properties, they may stop with the original content, and that's when they stop falling asleep behind the wheel and you get bad movies. It's like the WWE, for example. The WWE was great in the late 90s, early 2000s. Once their competitors went out of business, they started to get stale, they don't care, and right now their product, quite frankly, sucks. And that's one of the reasons why I'm all elite through and through. But enough, as this is not a wrestling podcast, obviously. But what I'm trying to say is, it feels like when it comes to original content, Blumhouse is the only game in town. Once in a while you'll get an original film from Sony or Fox Searchlight, but I want to see more original horror content from the other studios. Because, back to the wrestling analogy, the WWE up until early this year had no competition. Now they have competition. I don't know how they're going to react to it. Is it going to make them step up their game, or will they get devoured by the new competition, or Elite Wrestling? Now, in film terms, right now, Blumhouse Productions feels like the late 90s, early 2000s of WWE, where most of the content is very good, but it may happen that Blumhouse Films starts to churn out bad films. And that's not good for the horror genre, especially if Blumhouse is the main studio behind major theatrical horror films right now. This is why we need studios like Fox Searchlight, Sony, Paramount Pictures to really start to develop original horror content, as it would be great for the genre, and it will also make Blumhouse continue to up its game, as they've done a very good job so far. But sooner or later, the car will be on autopilot, and we will start to see the quality of Blumhouse films falter. I don't want to see any studio go out of business. I don't want to even see Blumhouse go out of business, because I think they're great for the horror genre. But we really need more original horror content, especially from the other major studios. As if everybody is doing quality original horror and not just relying on these reboots or remakes or books, put seats in the theaters, then we can have a new generation of horror classics that are original content. And the more original horror is in the mainstream and it's good, the better the genre will be. Because if we continue to see more reboots or films based on properties like Halloween, It, Child's Play, instead of original content like Ready or Not, Brightburn, and other horror films that have come out recently, we won't get new original classics. Instead, we'll probably end up getting endless reboots, endless remakes, and that is not good for the horror genre. So I really encourage you to support original mainstream horror. And the easiest way to do it right now is to go and support Ready or Not, which is currently in theaters. As this is a great film, you can check my review out on Anthony T's Horror Show's official website at anthonytshorrorshow.blogspot.com and support original horror and support indie horror, because that's what makes horror great, not these endless reboots that people seem to support more than original content in theaters.
Hey guys, this is Steve and Christina. I'm the founder, owner, creator, and host of Super Retro Throwback Reviews. Are you looking for the best movie reviews, music reviews, video game reviews, and Comic-Con coverage all around? Well then look no further. Definitely check out Super Retro Throwback Reviews on YouTube and our new audio podcast, the new and improved Super Retro Throwback Reviews audio files version 2.0 on the following media distributors: Podbean, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify.
Pass is over, John. Time for something new and improved.
Every day there's a family struggling with hospital bills to care for their sick child who is fighting an illness. There's a woman who is fighting breast cancer and is having trouble making ends meet while paying for their treatment. And there are burn victims that are going through treatments to heal their deep wounds. There is a charity in the horror community that helps these people. Scares That Care is an organization that helps families deal with the bills for their child. They help women get the treatment they need to fight breast cancer, and they help people who are dealing with severe burns get the help they need to heal. Scares That Care is a 100% volunteer organization and 501c3 nonprofit charity that is dedicated to helping these people in fighting real monsters. To find out more information or to donate to Scares That Care, you can go to www.scaresthatcare.org. Every donation helps Scares That Care fight real monsters. Before we go into our CT Horrorfest preview, me and Andrew recorded the preview of CT Horrorfest before it was announced that Quinn Lord canceled. So Quinn Lord will not be at CT Horrorfest this year. I figure I'll let everyone know now because we talk about him, I believe, in the segment. But Quinn Lord will not be at CT Horrorfest as he canceled due to filming commitments. Welcome back. I'm here with Andrew Duran from Darkest Before Dawn podcast, as we're here to talk about CT Horrorfest, which takes place September 14th in Naugatuck, Connecticut at the Naugatuck Event Center. How's everything going today, Andrew?
Good. How's everything going, Anthony?
Very good, even though Jason Blum seems to try to hijack my show with all these Halloween news that comes out between episodes.
Coming a little bit overwhelming now, ain't it?
Oh, yes. As you can clearly see later on in the show in my open letter. Hey, the guy is probably the most talked about topic on my podcast.
You know, last year, like I was just saying, with when Halloween came out, when it was coming out, there wasn't so much, news rolling into it, except for like a couple, announcements of people that were going to be in it and stuff. But this is like, for these next two Halloweens, there's going to be so much more like extra stuff that goes into it. It's going to be a little bit overwhelming, so we're going to have to see.
I just want this film to stop filming.
I think it films,
I know, soon, very soon.
Yeah.
But it's not getting to the point, Sheriff Brackett might be coming back. We got Tommy Doyle coming back. Yeah, that's a definite.
We don't need all that. We didn't get all that.
We need Tom Atkins to get into the mix as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So, now what makes you like CT Horrorfest the most besides other conventions you go to?
Well, last year was my first year going to CT Horrorfest. I really liked it. I enjoyed it. It's a mom and pop convention. It's very small. It's a one-day convention. I got the VIP. I know you got it also.
Yes.
It was the Halloween VIP, which was run great. The tickets were limited, but it was run really good. You got like a whole little swag bag with it, little cups and bags and stuff, and it was great. It was like very personal. The breakfast with the
Nick Castle, PJ Souls,
yeah,
Nancy Loomis.
The breakfast is cool. It's a really personal feel, and I don't even think the whole room sold out. I think there was still seats open. So, for the price, it wasn't bad, and we had a lot of fun. We got the early access to the convention.
And we also got autographs and photos with the stars as well.
Yep, and it was like your own little personal little panel, so it was really cool. I enjoyed that. And the convention, I thought it was ran smooth. Besides the only fact I didn't like too much was the ice rink thing. I mean, it wasn't a big enough problem to say, hey, I hate this convention, because I really enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, other than that, like it was run nice and smooth. I like how they had the line set up. I like how the separation was. The vendors were great. I made some cool friends there and stuff, so I enjoyed it a lot. What about you?
Oh, I had a very good time there. I liked the setup in the ice rink. It was perfect. Didn't mind being on the ice rink because it was probably around 70 degrees that day.
Yeah, no, it was nice. Yeah, that wasn't a big factor. It wasn't bad, but...
Plus, also crashing the Vinegar Syndrome booth as well.
Yep.
As I always tend to do at conventions, as it's pretty much like a casino table.
Yeah, and
for me,
it was easy to say too. Like last year, like I said, it was my first time going to Connecticut Horror Fest, and it easily moved its way up to being my second favorite convention. Like, right, it's Rock and Shock Connecticut Horror Fest now. When they start announcing stuff, I'm like, all right, I gotta buy my ticket, I gotta go. And I'm excited for this year too, because they got such a great lineup and a whole nother, like, a lot of stuff going on. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, this convention looks like it's gonna be more bigger than this last year's.
Yep.
The only concern I have with this year's convention is the venue change, as I saw some pics of the Naugatuck Event Center, and basically there were a lot of poles.
I seen that too, but congratulations on the guys over there at Connecticut Horror Fest for getting the bigger venue. It's awesome. I'm happy for them because it is a small convention. And hopefully it's enough room and everything. It's basic because last year it was a little tighter at the rink. Set up well and everything. It was still nice and everything, but it was tight. I think they're gonna have more room to have freedom to do what they want to do this year.
Yes, and you don't have to worry about the ice rink next to the ice rink, as there's like two ice rinks over where it was in Danbury last year.
Yeah, and that was the main confusing part about it, because you have the lines and stuff to the convention, and like in the hallway, you have like other little kids running up and down in like all the little like hockey uniforms and stuff. So it was like, you know what I'm saying? You want to start running into little kids and stuff. So,
what guests are you excited for this year?
I'm excited. They have a really good lineup this year. So there's a few guests I'm excited for. Tobin Bell from Saw, I'm excited to meet. Also Quinn Lord from Trick or Treat, and Don Shanks from Halloween 5. But their whole lineup this year is really great. Who are you excited to meet?
I'm excited to meet, of course, Tobin Bell, because I love him in the Saw films. Plus, he's done some other work that I liked, including The Firm and 24. Shawnee Smith. She's an actress that I've pretty much been watching since the 80s in films such as Who's Harry Crumb, Summer School, and The Blob remake. Plus, she's in the Saw films as well, so I really cannot wait to meet her. And another person I'm looking forward to meeting is, of course, James Balsamo. I always have trouble pronouncing his last name. As you can see in another interview, I had trouble pronouncing his last name. But to me, he's like the Lloyd Kaufman of this generation. He's done some really good films, including Bite School, I Spill on Your Guts, and The Lich. I can't wait to pick up his new film, Cool as Hell 2. Plus, he also has another film coming out soon called It Wants Blood with Eric Roberts. So, it's always great to see James Balsamo at a convention. He's one of the most fun people to be around with, and he's truly one of those filmmakers that I support fully.
Yes, and as I mentioned that we got the VIP last year. This year's VIP was a Saw VIP package, and I still believe this ticket's available on their website if anybody's interested at the time. But
yes, it'll be Tobin Bell, Shawnee Smith, and Sheen Patrick Flannery.
Yeah, and I believe it's the same thing. It's a breakfast in the morning, and you get an early admission to the convention with all the stuff that you get with the swag bag as well.
Other guests in this at this convention include Danielle Harris, who's been in pretty much every film. What is your favorite Danielle Harris film?
Halloween 4. Halloween 4, Halloween 5. Definitely. I didn't mind her really in the Rob Zombie's Halloween remakes, but that's it is what it is. But Halloween 4 and Halloween 5 is where I really like Danielle in the most. Even though she's been in so much, it's so much to pick from. But definitely Halloween because it's my favorite horror franchise.
I would probably shy away from the Halloween stuff, and I'm gonna say Hatchet 2, Hatchet 3, because this is, I think, the films that really show her as a true badass.
True. And
it really helped the franchise that she came aboard at that point, because I don't know if the other actors from the original Hatchet would have played that badass role so well, but Danielle Harris did a great job in Hatchet 2 and 3. I'm hoping for another Victor Crowley movie. I would love to see her back.
Oh, yeah.
As they kind of teased it at the end.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, that ending with Danielle at the end, yeah. That would be great to see another one. She's a really good character in Hatchet. I had to go with the Halloween because, it is my favorite. But, yeah, I think overall she is a stronger character in Hatchet. She does show more, potential of what she is. But she's been in so much that it's like, it's hard to choose from.
Yeah, she's probably our generation's Scream Queen.
Yeah, definitely. She's one of the top Scream Queens,
There are other guests as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a stacked convention, so.
You got David Norrington from An American Werewolf of London. Now, I cannot stress this enough. I cannot wait for this Arrow Video Blu-ray to come out. That Blu-ray is so stacked.
I saw, yeah, I'm excited for that too. I'm definitely going to grab that one as well.
He was also in a little-known film that Vinegar Syndrome put out called Ice Cream Man, which he probably has one of the most memorable scenes in the film. If I'm not mistakenly, his head ends up on an ice cream cone.
Yeah. Yep. And I didn't know he was in American Horror Story, so that's kind of news to me. I don't know who he played in American Horror Story, but he's in American Horror Story.
There's also a major Cenobites reunion going on at CT Horrorfest.
If you're a Hellraiser fan, that you got to be here for this.
Yeah, they did this a couple years ago at TerraCon in Rhode Island.
Without Doug Bradley.
Without Doug Bradley.
Yeah, without Doug Bradley.
Yes, you're right.
Yep, because now they got all...
Now you get all 4 of them.
Yes, you get them all.
And the sad thing about this reunion is there's no photo op.
Oh.
I really want a photo op.
I know.
That, personally bummed me out that they're not doing photo ops at this convention.
Yes.
As I personally believe that it's something they should look into. You could probably find a photographer for one day.
Yeah, I'm sure you could, And, I'm pretty sure there's, a couple hours in the day you can sneak in to do a couple photo ops. You don't have to do photos for everybody, but for something like this, it'd really be awesome to do a photo op for, especially for something that I would really want a photo op for with all the Cenobites together. But,
it is what it is.
It is what it is,
Doug Bradley will be there along with Simon Bramford, Nicholas Vince, and Bobby Wild.
And if you haven't met Nicholas Vince yet, I insist you meet all the Cenobites. I think they're all awesome. But specifically Nicholas Vince, he draws a little Chatterer character when he signs his autograph. It's really cool. And he's a super friendly guy. I had him on my show as well.
Yeah, that's what makes his autograph unique from all the other Cenobites.
Yeah. I know Doug Bradley does a little design when he signs. But, it's really cool that Nicholas Vince, he draws his character. Because when I got my thing signed by him, he drew it. It was really hard too. It's a little square thing, and he drew it really, really tiny. It still came out pretty cool. I like it. It's really cool.
Yeah, I have all 4 of them autographed on my wall.
Yeah, and they're super nice people too. It's Nicholas Vince is one of the most friendliest people I've met. We talked for a while, and he told me to add him on Facebook. He's really friendly. He's a really nice dude.
You also have, besides the Cenobites reunion, Lou David from The Burning.
That was a huge guest. They just announced that. I was super stoked for that, man. From The Burning. That's such a good slasher film.
Yeah, that really was very good. I have to admit, it's very gory. It's a film that featured Jason Alexander and Holly Hunter as well in one of their earlier films before they became famous. But Lou David did a very good job as Corpsey in the film.
Yeah, I was excited for that. Guessing, like I said, they just announced that one too. So
I'm surprised he just has a small filmography.
Yeah, hey, you know.
You also got Connecticut's own Carmine Capiano. He's been in such films as Disconnected and Psychos in Love, which is available on Vinegar Syndrome. He's done also some films from James Basilmo as well. I Spell Your Guts, and most recently Cool as Hell 2. You also got artist Jeff Zornow, who is an artist for such comics as Halloween, Godzilla, Jurassic Park, and more.
He also created some t-shirts for Fright Rags.
Yep, definitely some really good ones too.
Yeah, so he's definitely someone to go meet there as well.
Hopefully we'll have some of those Fright Rag shirts at the convention.
Oh, that would be really cool. I wasn't even thinking about that. This next guest is that's totally Anthony. He's a big wrestling fan. God, big guy, that's you.
Yep, the horror king himself,
yeah.
Vinny Massiglia. You would love this guy, especially with the gimmick that he's currently playing. He has this weird Charles Manson-like gimmick.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to show you a couple of his promos, but this guy is very creepy, and I think is one of the most underused wrestlers in Ring of Honor. He's currently in a stable called The Kingdom, but this guy could go on his own. This is one of those characters that people could make money on, because it's very different from all the other characters in Ring of Honor. Plus, he has this very dark vibe which really creeps you out. Whether it's in his promos or whether it's in his actions in the ring, he's definitely a wrestler that people should keep an eye out for, because I really think Ring of Honor should really pull the trigger and have him go on his own, as I really think the guy can be big in Ring of Honor with that gimmick that he's doing right now.
Yeah, definitely gonna check him out, man.
You have to check him out.
Definitely.
Yeah, because this guy is a huge horror fan too. He's also had some names of horror films in some of his movies as well.
Oh, really?
Like, I think his Swanton Bomb is like Red Rum.
That's cool.
And he's also recently starred in an independent horror film called The Find, which I hope to get more information on, because I haven't heard it much on it lately.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of interested to see him in an acting role, playing the villain, of course.
Yeah, I think he's gonna, crush it, because wrestling is a lot of acting too. So I'm sure he'll crush the role, man.
And that's pretty much it for guests. If we missed a guest, we apologize.
Yeah, sorry, but I think we covered that well.
I think we covered that well.
Yeah. Now we should want to jump into panels.
Yes.
Now,
jump into panel one.
I believe that there's a handful of panels. There's a decent amount of panels, and it starts with American Werewolf panel at 3:00.
Yep, it's going from 3 to 3:30.
3 to 3:30.
As David Norrington will be chatting about the 1981 film American Werewolf in London. From there, it goes to the Trick or Treat panel at 3:45 with Quinn Lord.
Yep, this one's 3:45 to 4:15, and if you're a Trick or Treat fan, I mean, you're not going to want to miss this panel.
Then at 4:30 to 5, it's the Halloween 5 panel with Danielle Harris and Don Shanks.
Yep, and then the remaining two panels are probably the bigger panels. They got at 5:15 to 6 is the Hellraiser 1 and 2 panel with all the Cenobites, and then at 6:15 to 7 they have the Saw panel. And if you get the VIP, I think you get front row seats to the Saw panel, because that's what they did last year for the Halloween.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much a very good lineup. Only problem with the panels I think I have with it is it's so late in the day.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big believer of at least maybe like at 12, 1 o'clock you should start having panels. I know you have to have the costume contests and everything,
Yeah, those are. I think those are in the afternoon of the day.
Yeah, those are the beginning actually.
Yeah, they have the kids in the 1:00, 1:30, and the adults is at 2:15. But the only thing that with the panels, it's like, so it's like, all right, 3 to 3:30 is American Werewolf panel, and then 3:45, 4:15 is they're like right, back to back. So it's like if you wanted to like catch this one, and it's like, I don't know, it's just like back to back is a little bit crap. You know what I mean? I think you get like a 15-minute break.
I know.
So.
But that's pretty much with the standard for all conventions.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, it's that too. And then you got to think too. They got to keep in mind too. This is a 1-day convention, so they kind of just gotta throw it all at the end like that. So.
Yeah. I would prefer the costume contest be at the end of the day.
Yeah. You can I guess you can keep the kids one at the beginning because and then you keep the adults one at the night would be a cool switch, but. For the most part, it wasn't bad, and they kept the same. They're keeping all the same, routine as last year. It's just going to be in the bigger venue, and you never know. I know that we did mention that it was a small convention, but you never know in the next couple of years that they could expand to a extra day on the convention.
I would hope so because I think that it would be beneficial for the convention.
Right.
Plus. They should really look into photo ops.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that I'm so bummed out about is I'm not getting a Hellraiser photo op at this convention.
And that's what I was saying too, like the you don't have to do photo ops for everybody, but like the 2 photo ops you could have got was like a Saw photo op.
Yeah.
And the
Halloween 5 photo op.
Halloween 5 photo op and the
Hellraiser photo op.
Those would have been cool, and you could have put those at different times. But I really get because Connecticut Horrorfest, they make everything very personal, so they want you to have like a good time there. So they give you enough time with the guests because you get there in the morning and like you have like enough time throughout the day to meet all the guests and everything like that, which is really cool. So even though it's like a 1-day convention, it's not a rushed convention. Because you have enough time throughout the day to do what you want to do. You have enough time to go meet whoever you want to meet. You have enough time to go enjoy all the vendors. And then towards the end of the night, you can go, see whatever panels you want. I'm pretty sure not everybody's going to want to see every single panel, so you can pick and choose from what you want to see.
Yeah, it's like, really, you can probably get maybe half of the lineup.
Yeah.
At this convention.
Yeah, and I believe if you get I know that they'll have tickets there the day of, but if you order your ticket online, I think you get early access into the convention.
Yes, at 10 a.m.
Yeah, you get to go in at 10 a.m. And I don't know what time they regularly open. I think 11. The show starts.
Yes, show starts at 11. Yeah. But if you get your ticket, you can get it at 10 a.m.
At 10 a.m., yeah. I know celebrities don't have to be there till 11. But, it's still cool if you want to walk around and check out all the vendors early. That's, definitely the way to do it.
And you never know. Maybe a celebrity will be there at 10.
I mean, it's happened. I've seen it happen a couple times. Celebrities get there early at Rock and Shock and stuff like that, so you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know.
They may show up early, or they may show up 3-4 hours late.
You never know.
You never know.
Surprise. You never know. But yeah, if they show up early, I mean, they don't have to, but if they do, that's awesome. You can grab your autograph if you want to quick, and then go spend money at the vendors. But definitely go in there. Just it's going to be a real fun time, and there's a lot to do. So
yeah, there is a lot to do here. It's going to be a really good time here at CT Horrorfest. I know I have a friend over at Super Retro Throwback Reviews who also have a booth there as well. You also have Vinegar Syndrome as well.
Yeah, my buddy I met there last year. His name's Ryan. He has an oddities booth. He sells different wet specimens and stuff. He's really cool. I made good friends with him, and that was from last year. So definitely stop by his booth and check it out. They have a lot of really cool booths there. That's what I was trying to say. Just walking around there, I would have never, if I didn't take my time and really explore all the vendors, I would have missed his booth.
How did we forget not to mention Deadly Grounds Coffee?
Oh no, we did. Deadly Grounds Coffee. Yeah, you definitely go there and buy like 5 bags of coffee just because we missed it. But yeah, Deadly Grounds Coffee is they're there too. I don't know if they're one of the sponsors or not.
Yeah, they're one of the sponsors.
Yeah.
Usually they are.
Yeah, because they were there last year too, and they love their coffee.
Yep, everybody loves their coffee.
Yeah, I think Deadly Grounds and is Vinegar Syndrome a sponsor?
Vinegar Syndrome. Actually, I know Vinegar Syndrome is sponsoring it.
Yeah.
And Deadly Grounds Coffee will definitely be there.
Yeah.
As I had to double check.
Yeah, they you gotta stop by. They always have the good deals. You buy 2 bags of coffee for like $20 or something like that. They always have a really good deal on their coffee, and their coffee is absolutely delicious. So, it's definitely another booth to stop by and check out.
And who knows what other vendors will show up as well.
Yeah. Last year, I don't remember every single vendor from last year, but there's specific ones that stood out to me. But you never know who's gonna come here. There was a lot of cool T-shirt vendors last year too.
Yes.
Yeah. So
trust me, I like buying T-shirts at conventions.
Yeah. If you're for films, I know Vinegar Syndrome was there.
That's it.
I think that was it film-wise.
This year you'll have Vinegar Syndrome and Acid Bath Productions, James Basilmo's company.
Yep. So that's really cool too.
Whom I can't stress enough again. Stop by this guy's booth and pick up a film. You will definitely love his films if you love Lloyd Kaufman. That's all I'm gonna say.
And I mean, I walked around a bunch of times last year too, and there was other people selling films and stuff. I know there was like in a row there was like one guy selling a bunch of serial killer documentaries, and then a little further down there was some guy that had some classic horror VHSs and stuff like that. So
and you have your bootleggers too.
Yeah, there was a couple bootleggers there. Yep.
Which we won't mention.
But yeah, if you're planning on going to Connecticut Horror Fest, just know, just because it's a one-day convention, it's not a rush convention. It's a real good time. I'm pretty sure you'll have a blast at it.
You can find more information on Connecticut Horror Fest on Facebook at facebook.com/Connecticut Horror Fest, as they are planning on announcing another guest, which I'll get to after the break.
Oh yeah, and before we forget to mention too, they are gonna add another guest, like Anthony just said. But very cool, and I'm like really happy that they're doing this. They're going to add an autograph price list, which is really cool, and it helps you plan out your days so much. I think that was really cool because they didn't have that last year.
Yeah, they didn't have that last year.
So
I always stress this enough. Every con should be doing this.
Yeah.
It helps everybody plan out who they're going to buy and whatnot. And here's the thing. Also have extra money because some of the celebs may give you a free selfie, but some of the celebs will also charge for a selfie as well.
Yep.
So always have a little extra money after planning for the autograph prices, because you definitely want to take at least a picture with that celebrity.
Yeah, definitely. You want the autograph in the picture. And, like Anthony said, if more conventions did this, it'd be so helpful. And, I wouldn't be looking at Rock and Shock like, oh shit, Rock, and I'm going to be broke because I'd have something to plan out to be. But that's a whole different story because, But yeah, it's really helpful because it gives you an idea of how much you have to go in with, and like he said, go in with extra money for pictures, and you gotta get stuff from the vendors too. So
yes, please support the vendors.
Yeah, definitely.
They're traveling hundreds of miles. Look at Vinegar Syndrome. They traveled all the way to Virginia for Scares That Care Weekend 6.
Yep.
And of course, I have to throw $100 down there.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely good.
So,
and especially at a convention that's one day too, it really helps, to pay off everything and, help support all the vendors. And if you want them to keep coming back year after year, you got to support them.
They got to at least break even.
Yeah, it's because you got to break even, and it's, if you really enjoyed having that vendor there, you want it to come back again, so you wanted to do more conventions, so you want to support them.
Yeah, because they're probably paying for a table in a hotel room as well. Some of them are.
Yeah, some of them I know, like my buddy Ryan out there, he's local, and he has a lot of cool stuff at his booth, and but like Anthony said, a lot of people are paying for hotels too, so they're putting a lot of money into this.
So it's always good to support vendors at these horror cons.
Definitely.
Well, it was nice having you on my show, Andrew.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's been a while. I've been trying to get you on, but there's been literally nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm happy you came on the show. I really can't wait to do this again.
Yeah, definitely. And I've been off for a little while. I'm going to be coming back with my show starting in September. Maybe like the second week of September I'll be back with, I kind of had to restructure my whole show, so I'll be back in September.
Now, where can they find your podcast on social media?
The Darkest Before Dawn on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Well, Andrew, I want to thank you for coming on to my show.
Thanks, dude.
Have a good day.
You too, man. Later.
Want to learn more about horror directors? With a lighthearted look at 3 of their movies? Meet fearless podcaster Gore Blimey.
I've been unsettled by bats in the past and startled by parrots, and I've even been known to jump at the odd cockatoo.
Discover horror films that are classics, and others, too.
There's a topless aerobics massacre, an exploding rock singer, cannibals, nude martial arts, a deep-fried prostitute.
But it's not all silliness. You'll get proper movie breakdowns, opinion, and background information, too.
Yep, in the 80s and 90s, Jeff Stryker was huge in gay porn. In every sense.
So if you're a horror film fan, come and check out the Trilogy of Terror podcast at strangeanddeadly.com, or find it on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or on your podcatcher.
One of those people that has a certain charisma and a certain style, and I'm just hoping one day he'll rub off on me.
The Trilogy of Terror podcast, where we try 3 times harder to give you the willies.
Welcome back. Now, one of the most talked about topics on my podcast is Jason Blum. It's literally getting to the point where every episode I am talking about Jason Blum, whether it's a Blumhouse production or my famous Jason Blum gets a Funko and X director doesn't, or this whole Halloween nonsense which has been going on lately. And it's been really taking over my news segment, and that is not a good thing, because I want to get to other pieces of news. I haven't talked about It Chapter 2 yet, that yours truly has been looking forward to seeing all year. It's coming out next week, and I'm still talking about Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, because there's always something going on about this film. It's like this film is trying to hijack my show the same way the Child's Play reboot hijacked my show, where I talk about this film for endless months until this film comes out, and then I never talk about it again. It's getting to the point where it's hijacking my show, and that is not good. I would love to talk about other stuff. You got It Chapter 2 coming out. You got the next Saw film coming out next year. But the main focus of the show so far has been Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, not other films that I would love to talk about. I would love to talk about some indie horror news too. The news segments for Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends goes about 5 or 6 minutes every episode, and I have a time constraint. I don't want to do a 2-hour podcast or a 90-minute podcast. I want to get everything done in an hour. But this film has successfully hijacked my news segment. It is getting to the point where you're expecting my thoughts on this big piece of Halloween news. And I did it again in the opening because it was another major news story. It's like it never ends. It's like I do a bi-weekly podcast, and it seems like in the 2 weeks between podcasts, a story or two about Halloween Kills or Halloween Ends comes out. And it's really to the point where yours truly feels like it's taking the show over, because I have spent a lot of time this episode talking about Blumhouse, directly or indirectly. I'm surprised I haven't talked much about their upcoming remake of Black Christmas, seriously, because that film seems to have a low, quiet profile, so you're pretty much not going to get much news on that film until when it comes out. But I'm just really sick of all this Halloween Kills news. I'm at the point where the only kind of news I'm really going to accept that will actually make me feel happy to talk about Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, is that the titles of the films changed. Because the titles Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends for the 9th time suck. And I would love to talk about the name changes for these films. But they still haven't made that announcement yet, and we still have the titles Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. So this is to the point where yours truly has yet written another open letter to Jason Blum, because all this Halloween nonsense I'm starting to get sick of, seriously, because it slows the show down, and it makes me not want to get to the news that I want to get to, because this is a popular topic, and I know you will like to hear Halloween Kills more than random indie films like Return to Nukem High, which I love to cover, and you can understand why I cover that news here in the news segment on this episode. But it feels like the Halloween Kills film is hijacking my show to the point where I have written another open letter to Jason Blum. Dear Mr. Blum, I hate to write to you again, but I'm having a problem with your upcoming Halloween sequels. I like the fact that you finally got the rights to make 2 more Halloween films, as the last time I wrote an open letter, you didn't have the rights to those films. I cannot wait to see these films, but the 2 Halloween sequels are starting to hijack my news segment, as it's been headlining every news segment in the last couple episodes. As if it wasn't for a preview episode that I did for Scares That Cares Weekend 6, I would have had every podcast for 2 months straight almost headlining news from Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. It's making my news segment feel redundant, as every episode is starting off with some sort of Halloween Kills or Halloween Ends news, and it's not good for my show because I want to focus on other news stories, but the Halloween sequels have been taking the majority of the time. I really urge you to have at least a 3-week moratorium on Halloween Kills, rumors, or news stories, so I can get to other news that I haven't been able to get to. It would be very beneficial to my podcast, as it would give other films a chance to be talked about on my show, and let me share my thoughts on other horror films that are coming out, and it would make my show better, because I haven't even talked about It Chapter 2 very much, and I'm really looking forward to this film. Please stop with the Halloween Kills rumors and news. I beg you for the life of me. Thank you, and sincerely, Anthony T. P.S. For the love of horror, stop filming the Halloween sequels already. You can find Anthony T's Horror Show on social media on these platforms. Facebook at facebook.com/Anthony T's Horror Show. Twitter at www.twitter.com/Anthony T's Horror. On Instagram at www.instagram.com/Anthony T's Horror Show. On YouTube at www.youtube.com/Anthony Thurber. And you can find Anthony T's Horror Show on the web as well at anthonytshorrorshow.blogspot.com. And you can also find Doc Discussions at www.docdiscussions.com. Welcome back. Since me and Andrew previewed CT Horrorfest this episode, I figured I'd recommend a film from one of the guests, or maybe 2 guests, or 3 guests. Let's make it 4 guests in one film. I view this film as one of the top 3 greatest horror sequels of all time, as it's been plenty of horror sequels. You've had a lot of Halloween films, a lot of Nightmare on Elm Street films, you have a lot of Friday the 13th films, but when I think of great horror sequels of all time, of course, the greatest is, of course, Dawn of the Dead, because that film is just such a great film altogether, and ironically enough, Galen Ross from that film will be at CT Horrorfest, but that's not the film recommendation this episode. Another great sequel is Evil Dead 2. That film is just insane from start to finish. That's definitely a film that is in my top 3 favorite horror sequels of all time. And another film that I would probably place as maybe the second or maybe greatest horror sequel of all time is Hellbound Hellraiser 2. Now, this film is a film that really amazes me, because I really think this film is way better than the original Hellraiser. Don't get me wrong, Hellraiser is a great film, but what makes Hellraiser 2 Hellbound one of the greatest sequels of all time is the fact that this film had a great story. I like the fact that this had a continuation from the first film, first of all. And second, the story felt different compared to Hellraiser 1. Hellraiser 1 was about an affair. This one is just about a mad doctor wanting to explore what's inside the box. This film had some very good performances in this from Ashley Lawrence, Doug Bradley, and Kenneth Cranham, who is very good in this film as the deranged Dr. Chenard. Is definitely one of my favorite horror performances of all time, because this is a character that really is just completely deranged from start to finish. Whether it's the way he delivers the dialogue to how this character is presented is, I think, one of the most creepiest doctors ever to be on film. And definitely one of my favorite doctors ever on film, alongside the likes of Herbert West and Dr. Frankenfurter from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I had to throw that in there. I love Dr. Frankenfurter. And again, I love Tim Curry anyway. So back to Hellbound Hellraiser 2. The film also has very good direction from Tony Randall, as he really does a great job really making this film even more darker than the original Hellraiser film. Because this film had a very bleak tone from start to finish. Is the way that Randall directs is what makes this nightmarish world come to life. And quite frankly, makes this film, I think, one of the greatest horror sequels of all time. The film also has a very good screenplay from Peter Atkins, as this screenplay is very much on par with the original. It really makes you forget that Clive Barker was not heavily involved with this film, as he only served as executive producer on it. You wouldn't notice it, seriously, from the way this film looks, from its very gothic look to how the action is perceived in the film. This really had a very dark tone. Is definitely by far the greatest Hellraiser sequel out of them all, and is definitely one of the, if not top 3 greatest horror sequels of all time. As there have been some very good ones, but I really would put Hellbound Hellraiser 2 in the top 3 in terms of great horror sequels of all time, because it has everything from the original, plus it had the addition of Dr. Chenard, which really amped up this film, as he's really one of the most sinister doctors ever to be put on screen. Definitely check out Hellbound Hellraiser 2 if you have not seen this already. I really highly recommend you see this now. Stop this podcast, watch this film, watch the first Hellraiser first, because it pretty much picks up from Hellraiser. So watch Hellraiser, then watch Hellbound Hellraiser 2, because personally, this is easily one of the top 3 horror sequels ever to be made. it's something I wish as it expands from the original. So my film recommendation for this episode is Hellbound Hellraiser 2. And don't forget you can meet Doug Bradley, Nicholas Vince, Simon Brimford, and Bobby Wilde at CT Horrorfest on September 14th at the Naugatuck Event Center in Naugatuck, Connecticut. Now, on Anthony T's Horror Show on YouTube, I haven't had time to put up the latest episode of Anthony T's Horror Collection, as when I was going through footage, I realized there was a couple of segments in there that wasn't filmed or didn't sound that great, so I'm going to refilm them, and I hope to have it up between episodes. Also, over on the show's website at anthonytshorrorshow.blogspot.com, I recently started to review films again. Yes, I reviewed a film, as this is the first film that I've reviewed since the disastrous St. Agatha. You'll get my thoughts on the recent theatrical horror film Ready or Not over on Anthony T's Horror Show on the web, as you'll see why I think Ready or Not is the best horror film of 2019 so far. Stop by there to check out my review of the film. I also recently put up a news story on a film called Satanic Panic, in which I have stilts from the film, which you can check out as well. With that, I have a proposition to make. I'm not going to reveal it yet, but I'm toying the idea of doing something for charity between now and Halloween. So, stay tuned to Anthony T's Horror Show on Facebook and the Dark Discussions podcast group. If I do it, you will know it, and you will know what the proposition is. I'll give you a hint. I may raise some money so you can force me to review a film that I don't want to review. How about that? Think about what are some of the major topics in the first year of Anthony T's Horror Show. That will give you a hint to what film that I might review if I hit my fundraising goal. So, it's not definitely I'm doing a fundraiser yet, but if I do, you will find out on Anthony T's Horror Show on Facebook and Dark Discussions Podcast's official group, as I'm willing to see a film that I don't want to see and review it here on Anthony T's Horror Show, the podcast, for charity. Stay tuned to Anthony T's Horror Show on Facebook to see if that happens, because that's not 100% if I'm going to do it yet. But if I do, just keep your eye on social media. With that wraps up another edition of Anthony T's Horror Show. Next episode will be a best of show. It'll be the best of rants. So it'll be pretty much all the rants from the Best of Anthony T's Horror Show Volume 1 CD that I had at Scaricon, New England, plus a couple of rants that didn't make it to the CD because I wanted to throw an interview in there as well. Stay tuned for that episode. Until then, have a good day and support indie horror.